Hello and congratulations for making a fantastic decision today and tuning into episode 3 of the More Than Muscle podcast. I'm Max. I'm joined as ever by Andy and Nat.
Boom.
How are we doing, guys? Nat, you alright?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah.
Friday.
Friday. It's Friday. We're recording it on a Friday, as always.
As per, exactly.
Yeah.
I can't believe we've made like 3 episodes.
3.
What the fuck?
The fact we've made it this far, I'm already impressed. And thank you everyone for the fantastic feedback we've been getting as well. It's
yeah, it's so nice to hear.
I think mostly people are just telling me that it's a comedy show rather than an actual informative fitness.
A comedy show with a bit of fitness.
Yeah, exactly. It's a sprinkling of fitness over the top to give us the excuse that we actually do it.
Yeah.
I love that.
So this week we're going to be getting to myth busting. So break out your Ghostbusters theme. I don't even know what they use in the things.
Hoover?
I don't know.
Is it like a Dyson thing? Like Hoover? 3
Yeah,
cyclone?
exactly. No, a Hoover. That's Luigi's mansion.
I don't know.
A
Yeah.
Hoover?
I don't know. What do they suck the ghosts up with? Hoovers, isn't it?
It definitely wouldn't be a Dyson. It would be a shark.
It was a Nunu.
Shout out Teletubbies. So guys, this is the problem. We're not fitness focused enough.
So fitness.
So we're going to be breaking down some classic fitness myths, whether that's diet, fitness itself, and training, and hopefully giving you guys the real answers which you can take away and say with some confidence in your next coffee break. So let's dive right in. The first myth I thought we'd tackle, Nat, I think this will be a prevalent one with you and a lot of your clients, is that lifting weights makes women bulky. I think that's a massive fear that we all get whenever you get a female client coming in for a consultation. So do you want to just really go to town on this one for us?
Yeah, you get so women will always ask, well not always, but most of the time will ask that they want to be toned. Fine, but they don't want to be bulky. So they don't want to build muscle, but they still want to be toned. Mm-hmm. But you'll have to get the tone from the muscle. So I hate using the word tone because, I just hate it.
It's a marketing expression.
It is. Yeah. And it is building muscle and getting leaner, reducing body fat so you can see the muscle that you've been working so hard for.
Yeah.
I think this comes from when people, especially women, when they see bodybuilders on stage, like people dedicate, female bodybuilders, they'll dedicate their entire life to getting onto that stage. And like their diet, their training, their supplements,
drugs,
and everything else that comes with it, they try so hard to look like that. Somebody coming into the gym 3 times a week to work out and do a bit of resistance training is not going to be big and bulky like that. I think over time your physique does change, and I think that's great. It doesn't mean that you're going to turn into the Hulk.
Precisely. You don't wake up bulky either. Like I feel like about our male clients, Andy, if all of a sudden you could wake up and you're like, oh shit, no, I've got massive shoulders all of a sudden. It doesn't happen like that.
Yeah. Usually if somebody's getting too bulky, it's probably because they're over consuming their calories.
Yeah.
Rather than they're actually putting in too many hours into the gym, God forbid.
Yeah, and I also think, again, going back to a few episodes ago when we were talking about smart programming, like if you're going to a trainer that knows what they're doing, then the frequency of work should be nice and balanced. So you should come out of it with a nice physique. Like if all you're doing is lat pull down like 3 times a week, then your upper back's probably going to get a bit bulkier than it was to begin with. And you're going to cause this like unstructured physique that you probably hate. So you need to be smart about what you're doing in the gym, but getting bulky from the weights, you probably need to pop a few pills and train for a few years for that to even be a thing. So I wouldn't even worry about it.
Yeah, precisely. Me neither. I thought that's just really important to dispel because people seem to think as soon as they touch a dumbbell, their arm's going to explode.
Yeah, no way. People won't be really lifting with the frequency and also the weight as well that they actually should be. Most people would just pop into the gym, I don't know, a few times a week and doing some moderate exercise. Like that is not going to get you bulky at all.
Yeah, and I think also it's about like getting away from the notion of that and understand you're coming to the gym to get stronger, more functional, more able, less injury bound, and as a consequence, that's going to give you a better physique than you started with anyway. Rather than just thinking about getting huge, you're probably going to get more huge eating 20 donuts a day sitting on your ass doing nothing. So I wouldn't even worry about it.
Yeah, that's where you should have the concern.
Yeah.
I like
donuts for bulk, not dumbbells.
Give me the donuts.
Always crosstown donuts, mate. That's what you want. Ooh, that's the business.
I've never had a crosstown donut.
Oh,
You haven't lived.
You haven't lived properly yet. No, trust me. Anytime you're in London, like 100% best vegan junk food you can get.
I work with 2 donuts.
Next one I thought we'd touch on. Andy, do you want to tackle you can turn muscle into fat? I don't know why this is...
Yeah, it's a strange one. We get it a lot. It's like, oh, so if I'm training a certain way, will I turn my fat into muscle? They're like 2 physiologically different properties. You can build muscle through, building more tissue, whatever, and you can lose body fat by, creating an energy deficit, blah, blah, blah. They're 2 different physical things, or physiological things rather, so they don't change. Mm-hmm. You just either get better at one, or reduce one, or get worse at one. They're 2 different things.
Yeah, precisely. I don't think that makes any sense. And just to sort of go into that a little bit deeper, you have a few people coming to you and they're quite determined to both build muscle and lose body fat at the same time. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's impossible, and it is with a very, very specific, quite lasered in program, and particularly diet, I think. But do you want to talk about a little bit on the challenges of trying to go after both of those at once, as long as you're not in the sort of newbie gains phase?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're a newbie, then you probably see that rate of change together. Most probably because you're completely detrained and we're giving you a stimulus and you're like, whoa, I need to respond to this. Mm-hmm. But, you can, as you advance, you can still build muscle in a calorie deficit because there's all the neurological changes that will come along with it as well. But, the later down in your training years that you are, the more specific and narrow you have to be in the outcome. So if you're going to build muscle, then you need to be looking at the volume of work you're doing, how much you're lifting, reps and sets and load, all that kind of thing. And whether you're in a surplus of energy, whether that is slightly, and the amount of step count and output that you're doing. And then vice versa, if you're looking to lose body fat, then the focus needs to be on your output. It's like, are you moving enough? Are you consuming the adequate calories for there to be an energy deficit? And then are you lifting with the right volume so that you actually don't sacrifice any tissue as you lose body fat? One of the biggest mistakes people make is they sacrifice a little bit of calories because you need to, and then they push output to the highest degree, and what they're actually doing is losing weight, but they're also getting smaller because they're burning the candle at both ends. So I think those are the challenges, and periodizing that correctly is where the art is.
Yeah, I think ultimately you want to try and maintain your muscle mass wherever possible. So like Andy said, keeping with the training, changing up the variables, but always try and maintain the muscle mass as much as possible.
I think that's the
and
challenge.
Your strength.
That's the challenge with crash dieting and dropping your calories off a cliff, is that yes, you're losing some body fat. You see the number on the scale going down. Yeah. But you're losing a horrendous amount of muscle mass, and therefore your composition is going to go off.
Yeah,
and also if you're in a severe deficit, it's not only muscle mass that you're compromising, it's the fact that you are sacrificing energy. And we all know that if energy is not there from food, then NEAT is going to go down, so all your movement subconsciously is going to reduce. You're not going to have the energy to go into the gym and actually do the things that you need to do at good high quality. So you're basically pissing in the wind. It's a short-term look at it, rather than looking over the phase of maybe 12 weeks, let's say, or 8 weeks, where you're actually just going to chip away at things slowly and get a more sustained outcome.
We're talking about high volumes of work and people really pushing themselves. The next myth I thought we'd bust would be no pain, no gain. So it's that classic belief that unless you are in muscular agony, you are crawling out of the gym.
Yeah, bro.
That you're not... Anytime I train legs.
1 rep.
So if you're not walking out in that state with a massive amount of pain, that you haven't worked properly, and therefore you're not going to see the results that you want to see. Nat, do you want to come in on that?
Yeah, that's one that I hear all the time. Or am I doing things correctly if I'm not aching the next day? People always look for that ache, or they look for to exit the gym completely sweaty, sitting in their car really shaky. But that's not there's a time and place for that. Not every session has to be like that. If every session is like that, you're probably going to get injured and you're probably going to hit a brick wall at some time. And then you'll take about 2-3 weeks off and then go for it again.
Yeah.
The best way is to just slowly tap into it, slowly build up your strength. But yeah, going hard or going home, not every session has to be like that.
Dumb.
Yeah.
The problem is, like, if you go hard or go home every single session, and as Nat says, there is a time and place to do that, then what you're actually going to compromise is the forthcoming sessions in your week or in your month or whatever, because you're going to turn up spent or hurt. So it does need to be periodized so that you know when you're going to go hard or go home. And like a good way to do it in some ways is like every 10th day you're going to test yourself, and that's where you might put like a WOD in there and go, right, I'm going to go balls to the walls, test everything, see what's going to happen. But then, you know, in the lead up to that, you're going to periodize it so that your volume is right, the amount of work you're doing, your intensity is right, how hard you're working towards it. And that's something that often gets really confused, is volume and intensity.
Yeah.
They are separate. Volume is the amount of work you do. Intensity is how hard you're working. So it's really common for someone to say, fuck man, that was really difficult. I did like 100 rounds.
Hit.
Yeah, and it's not even hit.
Exactly.
It's like, that's really low level, because the only thing you're going to reduce as you do
volume.
that is your intensity. So that is the biggest problem, I think, is if you go hard or go home all the time, you're compromising your performance.
Yeah, but people get addicted to that.
Love it.
So when you've done that once, you feel like that's the only way that you're going to get results, is you're coming out and you're absolutely spent.
So you've got that reminder, I feel like. So if your legs really hurt, you're walking around, you hurt, and then it's almost like that gratification of, oh, that means I did well.
But typically people when they're doing that, their rest will be really, really low. Maybe their weights won't be as high, their load won't be as high as they potentially could push.
Yeah.
So just add in a bit more rest period in there, loading up the weight as well, changing up the stimulus a little bit.
Yeah.
That is where they're gonna see the result.
I've always been a big proponent of, if you need to do a finisher in your workouts, it's probably because you haven't worked out properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you have, you would have loaded properly, you would have rested properly, you would have got the performance markers that you needed each set, each rep, each exercise that you wanted to push. You would have done that, and you would be spent by the time you're done anyway.
Yeah. You can't undershoot yourself as well. But I think it's important, like something I tell every client. There was a really good 2016 paper published, and it shows basically if you go balls to the wall, no reps left in the tank, so to failure, there is almost no, I think it was 1 to 2% of extra muscle gain versus leaving 1 to 2 reps in the tank. So when you feel like, I could perform 1 or 2 more reps with form still, quitting there, you have pretty much an identical amount of muscle gain, but the fatigue between the two was 65 to 85%. Yeah. So effectively, you're working way harder for no extra results.
Yeah, minimal gains.
Yeah, exactly.
Law of diminishing returns.
Precisely. So let's touch on the next one. You can spot reduce specifically belly fat, but I think that's more one that everyone comes to us saying, I hold all my weight here, because that's what they look at. When you bloat out, you can see your stomach enlarging. But just spot reducing fat anywhere, I think, is impossible. So Nat, do you want to come in on that?
Yeah, it is impossible to spot reduce. However, it's not impossible to build up on an area that you want to improve. So for instance, like the chest, the shoulders, the glutes, you can work on building those muscle areas, but you can't spot reduce fat. You can't say, I want to reduce fat from my abs and then just keep it on my glutes. It doesn't really work like that. Coming back into genetics, last week's podcast, we all hold it in different areas, and you can't spot reduce.
There's nothing you can do to control that. I mean, the thing is, if you want to build muscle in specific areas, that can potentially improve the aesthetic look. So like you say, build up your shoulders, get some muscle almost like poking through, and then sadly you've just got to strip better body fat from everywhere. Usually you see it mostly in your face and neck first. It's not usually in your body. From experience with different clients.
I can spot reduce.
Sorry?
I can spot reduce.
Is it because you're
I can do it, bruv.
Is it because you're an endomorph?
It's because I'm an endomorph and I drink detox tea. Works. You shit your pants, it comes out your belly.
That's true.
No, I think with bloating, like obviously,
You need
You
to
just get
download.
a
You
little-
need to download my ebook. It talks about spot reduction.
That's my ebook too.
Exactly. These 6 ab exercises that will give you a 6-pack
Yeah,
in
that's
4 weeks.
That's the thing.
More than
Oh, I
spotreduction.co.uk.
need to do more core exercises.
Yeah, core exercises in general don't give you abs. They can
No.
build strength in
Yeah.
your core, which is then useful, but you're not going to
Yeah.
see anything unless you strip back that body fat.
Yeah.
No.
I think
Exactly.
people have different thresholds for that though. If you want to see visible abs, people have very specific markers,
Yeah.
but depending on how built your abs and how genetically you're built, some people will see their abs at 15%.
Yeah.
Some people will see their abs at
100%,
10.
yeah.
Some people it will have to be as low as like 7% odd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does just vary, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So the last one I thought we would cover is 10,000 steps a day is the hallmark of health.
Yeah, baby.
Now, I am not saying that walking 10,000 steps a day isn't a good thing. Obviously, any movement is good movement, especially if you struggle to be as active as you can be. So it's good to have a number.
Yeah.
But in terms of 10,000 being the specific goal, I think a lot of people sort of hang their hat on when it's actually from an Olympic pedometer advert from the 60s. So
Is that where it's from?
that is, yes. So it was a
Yeah.
pedometer company was trying
Yeah.
to sell during the Olympics and say, "Are you getting your 10,000 steps? Use our pedometer;
Yeah.
it'll track your steps." And then we've kind of hung on to that
Yeah.
for literally decades.
I think
yeah.
where it's come from is that 10,000 steps, there or thereabouts, is about 500 calories that you burn. So we know that 500 calories a day is a pound a week. So if you just get the nation to walk, then there's a likelihood that they're going to start losing weight. But that's where that's come from. And like we look at some of our clients who sit at desks all day and they're lucky to get 500 steps in.
Yeah. It's just such a nice, easy way for somebody to increase their activity level. And if you give them a goal within the gym, fine. And when they're with us, they'll probably hit it. They'll go to the gym 3 times a week. But also giving them a goal outside of training in the gym as well. They
Right.
then look at their fitness and their lifestyle as a whole, rather than just thinking they can just get their results in the gym. Because you have to think, you're at the gym, if you're lucky, for 1 hour a day. You've then got another 23 hours in that day to try and get something in. That's like your biggest window of opportunity, actually. So yeah, I always say to my clients 10,000 steps if they can, and just a bit of headspace as well to go out, get away from the laptop and listen to a podcast.
Isn't it mad though? Like,
Hit that bell.
But,
2 things. Isn't it sad that we have to even calculate it because we're lack of movement through everybody?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so completely.
10,000 steps is easy.
To be honest with you, I mean,
Should be, anyway.
I imagine we all probably hit it before midday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Comfortably.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that it's wrong to have a goal for your steps. I just think 10,000 as a one size fits all
Yeah.
for a 80-year-old woman versus a man in his 20s. I think don't hold yourself so tethered to that as your goal. Go higher. Go lower. Whatever
Some people
you
have
need to do.
some people have really high activity levels. Like they might live on a farm.
Yeah.
And
I had a client pay Pokemon Go just to get him to walk because like he just wouldn't do it. Fair enough, he did it. He became a Pokemon champion. He caught them all, and now he's a Pokemaster and lean. So that's cool.
And his name is Ash.
Yeah, Ash Ketchum, more muscle. So there's that. But like going back a few steps when we're talking about like muscle building and things like that and volume of works and stuff. 10,000 steps has become a thing, but it's like if your goal is actually to put muscle on, and let's go back to ectomorph, and you're banging 10,000 steps and then you're banging like 20 to 30 sets in your workout with high volume, and you're trying to put weight on, like these are the variables that you probably need to look into. And it's like maybe you can either do less sets, less workouts, whatever, focus on getting your intensity where it should be, being strong, muscle mass stimulated, or just reduce some of your step count if you're overdoing it. So like,
or increase your calorie intake.
Or increase your calorie intake. And it's
about
like, it's a given 10,000 steps, but for what? Like, there's a bigger picture to most of the things that these statements are coming out with, and that's the biggest problem.
Absolutely. So game time. I thought we would give a go with headline or fake line.
Jeez.
So this is basically, I found 5 headlines. Some of them have legitimately been published in big UK newspapers. Maybe I've made up a few. Maybe they're all true. Maybe they're all false. Maybe I've made them all up. And I want you two to have a little debate and decide whether the UK media has let us down by publishing these.
I can tell you already.
I'm very, very ready. Yeah, exactly. I'm severing all of my journalistic contacts by calling some people out here potentially. So, are we both ready?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, first headline: are planks better than crunches to cut belly fat? Is that a real headline or a fake line?
That's a real headline.
Is it?
Really shit.
Are planks better than crunches to cut belly fat? We had a conversation just earlier about how you can't spot reduce belly fat.
Are we saying? Hold on a second.
Doesn't give you abs.
Are we saying?
No, we're saying, is this a headline or not?
Yeah. Has it been published?
Was this genuinely published in a big?
I reckon it's been published.
paper?
I reckon it's been
published. Page 3, Sun.
You know what? Fair game to you, lads. However, it is true. Absolutely, it was actually in the Times.
Ooh.
Exactly. A bit less tabloidy.
Yeah. Wasn't page 3 then. Is that even a thing anymore?
We know what Andy looks at. I don't think it is a thing
No,
anymore.
I don't think so.
I only read the non-league football paper.
Body positivity, mate. Come on now. We don't need page 3 girls anymore. Come on now.
No, I just look down my Instagram feed.
Yeah, exactly.
Just any social media ever.
Look on my explore page.
Mine's just puppies. I think mine's puppies. And like,
is that what they call them nowadays?
and blokes do. Yeah, more.
I always wondered why they called it the Sun.
Why are you calling me out like that? No, come on now.
They shouldn't have called it the Sun. They should have called it the Moon.
Or puppy.
Anyway, before I get called out anymore, we'll move on to headline number 2. 8 ways to lose belly fat without going to the gym or restrictive dieting.
That is false.
8 ways
No, that's
to lose belly fat without
It's
going
false.
to the gym.
No.
Was that published? Yes
Yeah.
or no?
No.
Daily Mail will definitely
We've got some
jump on that
we've got some
one.
disagreement.
Reason why I
Yeah.
said no, it's too intelligent.
Is it now?
It's too long.
Yeah, it's quite a lengthy headline, to be fair.
You would have told me off for doing a headline that long.
I would have told you off, yeah, exactly.
Hemingway wouldn't have liked that.
I reckon Andy wrote that.
Interesting. So, Andy, you're saying false.
False.
Nat, you're saying
It's
true.
a headline.
Nat's fucking bang on because you've got the
Jeez.
paper as well. It's
What-
Daily Mail.
I
Daily
knew
Mail.
True.
it!
8 restrictive ways to lose belly fat without going to the gym. I want to know. I didn't read the articles. They probably just made me.
That is a
angry.
long headline.
I was like, yeah, it's a long headline, but also 8 ways without gymming or restrictive dieting. I just look at something like that and think you're basically trying to advertise to people not to do
Don't
the
do
2
that,
best
yeah.
possible ways
Yeah.
to actually
I know.
shift some body fat.
Reeling them in.
Yeah, again, and that's the second headline in a row, both talking about belly fat. So we're talking about the spot reducing,
It's a trigger.
where people see
It's
reduced
a trick,
belly
yeah,
fat,
yeah.
and they're absolutely
there.
all over it.
Motherfuckers.
So number 3, the secret to a beach bod is ... all caps, jelly babies.
That's false.
Are you sure?
No, that's true.
Is it Beatty? What makes you think it's true now?
Because I remember there being a thing about diet jelly babies
Ah, okay.
I do remember that actually.
and like
Oh, Andy.
an appetite suppressant. It was either jelly babies or a lollipop.
Didn't D put it up? I remember that. I remember
don't know.
one of them guys put it up.
Okay, Andy, are you changing your answer?
Yeah,
Do you both think it's true?
it's true.
You sure?
Maybe.
Well, you're both wrong.
Oh,
Oh, bitch.
That's me. I called you both out. I was just thinking of back when I ran the Brighton Marathon. Everyone was just handing me jelly babies, and I was like,
There was a jelly
I'll
thing
just-
though.
I'll just pick that.
No,
I
that
think
was a lollipop.
The lollipop makes sense because obviously you're sucking on it, you're salivating.
yeah.
Potentially, that's reducing hunger. Whereas just eating a high amount of processed sugar
Yeah, but
in jelly
you
babies.
can actually get something now that like suppresses. I actually
Imodium.
saw it. No, I actually saw it advertised the other day. I thought, oh my gosh, and it was at like 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning TV. Somebody was advertising, and it was like an appetite suppressant gel.
Fiber.
Ooh.
I know.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And you
Bread?
have it, and it was, I think it was like a jelly baby or something like that. That's why I thought of it.
Interesting. Go back and listen to episode 2. We talk about the satiety index if you want some real tips on
chips work.
Chips do work, exactly. That's what we took away from it. And he needs to eat more vegetables.
Yeah, buddy.
So, headline number 4. 3 weight loss pills to help you shred body fat. Body fat, not belly fat this time.
Cocaine?
Everywhere.
Wait, that's not a pill, is it?
3 pills. Gives you a lot of energy.
Yeah.
You smash it out in the gym. Job done. In and out. Pablo Escobar approves this message.
I reckon that's false.
You do?
I think that's false.
You think it's false?
Yeah.
You don't think people are going to advertise 3 weight loss pills?
Piers Morgan will shoot them down massively.
Piers Morgan would shoot anyone down. He hates vegans as well. So I'm
Don't blame
going to
him.
be number 1.
Don't blame him.
It's employer abuse right there. Well, so you're both going with false. Sorry.
Yeah.
Again, lads, you're letting me down. It's true.
That's
It's
true.
in the Express.
Lads.
3 weight loss pills to help you shred. So we were talking about laxative tea that makes
What
you
is
shit
wrong?
yourself.
What is wrong with these fucking newspapers?
my
I'm calling
gosh.
out the UK media right here
Motherfucker.
with this game.
What?
But,
How can you advertise something like that?
Isn't
That's
it?
so bad.
I honestly don't know. 3 weight loss pills. Again, guys, it's diet and exercise. It's not that hard if you speak to a
That is
professional.
it. At least they went to body fat though, and not spot reduced.
Yeah, exactly. So we've maybe made a slight nudge in the right direction.
Yeah, it is mad though. Like,
Then they went way off
It
in
is
the other
mad.
direction.
because like in this day and age, a negative COVID test is a sign of health.
Stupid.
Silence.
Anyway, right. Last one. Last but not least, number 5. Personal trainers are a waste of money. Try this block capitals instead.
True.
Andy.
They're fucking waste of money, those PTs. Bastards.
Yeah, guys, not being funny. It's a farce. Why are you coming to us? Why are you training?
I think it's false, actually.
Oh, you changed the tune, Nat?
Yeah, I think that's false. I think you wrote that.
Why would you think I'd write that? I'm going to out myself.
To try and
Yeah.
Try
deter
and
us.
double bluff you,
Yeah.
really? Well, you're both right actually on this.
Yeah.
This was me. All right, fair enough.
PTs. Brrr.
what
Yeah,
was
exactly.
this?
But-
What was
but-
your thought?
I don't know. I was just looking at it. I was like,
Try this cake instead.
it won't make you lose weight. It's just delicious.
try spending £70 on cake.
Dun,
I
dun.
mean, I feel like personal trainers are not necessarily. I feel like on social media, Andy, you say it all the time. 1-to-1 PT is dying, and that's what you see everyone seeming
Yeah, and it's
to
not.
advertise. Not in the slightest. No.
No. The only thing is dying. The only thing that I think is dying is coaching, because people are getting lazy. They're like, just do this. It's easy. Download it, and then people will do it.
Yeah.
But I don't think 1-to-1 PT is dying.
Absolutely not. As
The
well.
standard might
No,
be.
I don't think so. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. The standard is dying.
Exactly.
1-to-1 PT is not dying.
I wanted to see that you guys would both say false, so that you're backing ourselves here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Backing it.
I think our camera battery might be dying now. What does that say?
Should we put a marker
Okay.
there, Tom?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, just say something, Andy.
Your battery's dying.
No, it's not.
We just turned off.
No.
We've got to have like a covert word for that.
Why does it do that?
What was that word? What was it? No, puppies.
Yeah, puppies.
Puppies?
Puppies.
That's the word.
Safe word.
Safe
Exactly,
word
yeah.
is puppies.
If anyone says puppies, that means the camera's about to go off. slide it into conversation somehow. Either that or we make the hand
That was
gesture.
so funny. My discovery feed is full of puppies.
Is that what they
Puppy
call these
dogs.
days? It's jokes. Right, Tom, are we all right? Yeah, no problem.
Oh, hang on.
Oh.
Keep that in.
Keep that.
Just killed her.
Yes.
You're disgusting.
Diet pill that was. It came up.
It's a jelly
Bit
baby.
too much of that laxative tea.
Keep that.
Okay, right, when we're ready to go.
Yeah, carry on.
Lovely. So, guys. Andy.
Stop it!
Oh god.
Stop, because this is a serious bit now.
Serious.
Shall we let's have a look? Right, here we go. Guys, compose. Deep breath. And 3, 2, 1. Alright guys, so let's get back into it. So the next myth I thought we would try and bust is weight training will stunt your growth. So we've had a few clients come in who are, potentially around the late teen sort of phase, and I think it's a common idea that, weight training is going to make you teeny tiny. I think I am walking proof that is most certainly not true. So Andy, do you want to touch on that a bit for us?
Yeah, I think this is a really common one. I think bad weight training might stunt more than just your growth, so you need to be careful of that.
It's just break you, yes.
One thing we have to be careful with young youths is that we don't change their mechanics or injure their tendons or their soft tissues and things like that. But you just got to think, like, kids jump off walls, they jump from ceilings, they run. I think about the amount of force that goes through them doing that. It's probably going to be greater than the loading you're going to give them if you're giving them the loading that it should have at that age. So it is a little bit of a myth, but you do have to be very careful as well.
I completely agree. You have to be careful. I think especially as their body changes, I think you need to take a different approach when it comes to training them as well. So hence why I think it's potentially dangerous for some kids to go in training by themselves because they're not entirely sure. Their body keeps changing, you keep growing, you've got different length levers and things. So your session may need to change as a result.
Yeah, you're right. One of the biggest problems at the moment is the amount of kids on social media absorbing the shite that is on social media and then going and trying to copy that. So the biggest thing is hitting a PB, and it's like, that's something that is worrying when you see youths in the gym doing things incorrect. And the other thing is they're still growing, so what they can skillfully do today, tomorrow they might not be ready because they've just had a growth spurt and their levers are all over the place, they're a bit gangly, whatever. So I think it's an ever revolving thing that needs to be coached until they actually are in the body that they've grown into. Yeah,
I think it's a scary thing. You get some influencers who are around 18, if not even younger. I mean, I saw a video of a Gymshark athlete. I think he's 18.
Gymshark,
and he was deadlifting 310.
Jeez.
Which is, yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Samoan?
It was ridiculous. You're not sure if he's juicing, but I think that's a concern when you see some influencers doing that sort of thing at that age. That could potentially, give you a negative mindset if you're a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid that sees someone doing that and thinks, oh wow, that is possible. Yeah. Why aren't I doing that? I'll give that a go.
Yeah.
It's what does it 310, but
Yeah, it's what does it represent at the end of the day, and they only see it as face value, don't they?
Yeah, precisely. Let's move on to the next one. Fat makes you fat, and carbs make you fat. So, I mean, if both of these are true, I mean, you're sort of screwed because your only other energy source is protein or alcohol, but that obviously provides limited nutritional value. So the fact that, people are afraid of carbs, people are afraid of fats, it doesn't leave you with a whole lot else.
No, but do you know what? I know a few people who would happily drink like copious amounts of wine but not touch a sandwich.
Fruit, innit?
Like
grapes.
Why is that? Why is that?
It's really
but
strange.
yeah, fat doesn't make you fat. Fat is really dense in calories, which is why I think it gets a bad name. If you overeat calories, then
9 calories a gram specifically, versus 4 for carbs and 4 for protein.
Yeah. So I think if you it's so easy to overeat, and fat tastes good when it's with carbohydrates.
Oh yeah, baby, chips.
Yeah, chip
so
sandwich.
yeah, I think that's where like the fat has given a bad name, and I think that was like in the 90s, wasn't it? Like it was always low fat stuff.
Yeah.
But then it became, they're like celebrating like nuts and avocados and everything. So like high fat diet is now
functional
really
medicine. Functional medicine. Woo!
And then carbs. Everyone wants to cut out carbs now.
Precisely, yeah. I think they're high volume, a fear of gluten sort of rising as well.
But what the carbs are, what they say they are, the carbohydrate, they hydrate the cells. So you will hold on to more water when you have carbs. So your body weight will be heavier, and then you cut the carbs out, and it's suddenly you've lost body weight. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's because I've lost fat. It's not, you've taken the carbohydrates away, so you've taken away the water. So that's where I think people think, carbohydrates are bad.
Yeah.
because they make me gain weight.
Again, they're easy to overeat as well. Like you can have a big old bowl
easy.
of rice,
Yeah.
and then, you know, a bowl that is 1,000 calories versus a bowl that's 500 calories. Like it doesn't look too far away. You're like, I could smash either one of those. But you know, there's an enormous difference.
Yeah, and fat and carbohydrates, they're like free pour as well. Like you can free pour cereal and pasta and like olive oil and sauces and stuff, but you couldn't like free pour chicken.
The thing with fat, like obviously you need fat. If you don't have it, you're dead. Like you need it on a cellular level.
Yeah.
But it's one of those macronutrients you don't necessarily see physically. So if you're not skilled and you don't really know much about your nutrition, you could easily be consuming it without even knowing. Whereas like a lot of the carbohydrates, you can physically see it. Like a bowl of oats, when you create it, you can kind of see what 100 grams would look like.
Yeah.
So I think that's where people's difficulty lies, especially when you eat out and someone else has been doing your cooking.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
You don't realise how much oil's going into it. And, you know, it's what is it, like 100, 120 calories in a tablespoon of olive oil?
Yeah. Sick.
Yeah.
Gains.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you need if you're bulking up in it. But I think another tricky thing is all fat isn't created equal either. So in the sense that you can have your fat from olive oil isn't going to be the same as hydrogenated vegetable oil, for example. That you'll get in a lot of processed food.
Stick to olive oil, my friends.
Exactly.
Very good, you know.
Take it from the Greek boy himself. So next one, guys. Good eating counterbalances bad eating. So I think I get this a lot. I think the classic is people going to the gym and then coming out and having a hot dog or a burger because they feel like they've earned it, or they think that they remember that salad they had at lunch, and then that justifies the curry they have for their dinner that evening. It's just that if you consume too many calories through your bad eating, doesn't matter how much salad, how much kale, or how many superfoods, I use inverted commas, I think consume, it doesn't make a difference.
I think all food is super.
We're clearly endomorph, mate.
So read that again. What were you saying?
Good food counterbalances bad food, or good eating counterbalances bad eating.
Oh, I see.
So in the sense that if you eat something good, somehow that makes up for whatever it was bad that you ate previously.
I think we need to get away from the notion of good eating and bad eating. Like
100%.
As soon as you associate things like that, then you're fueling that action.
I think like food isn't good and then food isn't bad. You're not like on a diet and you're not like off a diet. You should always just be somewhere in the middle. Like, what happened to the middle? Just like having a bit of both. Like in some cases a burger could be bad. In some cases a burger could be great.
Absolutely fine. If it fits your macros.
Like it's just it's always this thing of like, oh, good and bad choices, or on plan or off plan, or on the diet or off the diet. It's so unhealthy for
Completely
us
agree.
mentally
as well. I think the tricky thing is not all food, like food you'd consider bad, there is still some nutritional benefit to it. So for instance, I would rather, say someone eats nothing all day and then comes to train with me, they're going to get lightheaded, they're going to get blurry vision. If they ate a pizza that day before coming to see me, you're still getting some carbohydrates from the crust. Maybe you had some, I don't know, chicken or tofu or whatever it was on top of the pizza. That's some protein. Okay, I would rather you had that than you came to see me on nothing. There is still some nutritional benefit to pretty much any food other than alcohol, because obviously you can't convert that into energy. Any food, you can still take something away from it. You can use it for energy.
There's no good or bad food, there's just better choices.
Yes.
And that's how it has to fit within the realms of whatever you're trying to achieve. I think that's a really important thing, because I'm yet to see a client that hasn't gone, so what do you think of this? This is really bad. And it's like,
in what context?
In what context?
In what quantity?
And like,
anything's lethal in any quantity.
But you go back to Nat's thing about the wine. It's like no one, they know it's bad. So when you're being naughty, it's okay. So it's like, why do we have to put things in certain camps? You know what I mean? I think that's the problem. You
can always have too much of a good thing. So, for instance, I think salmon is something that you'd consider to be super, super healthy. But obviously, if you ate a ridiculous amount of, like, you had like 3 salmon a day, you're probably over consuming on what you should be eating fat-wise. But
Yeah.
obviously, a small portion of it a day is probably pretty good.
Yeah.
And
So,
calorie-wise, it's just
exactly,
going to amount.
it's quite calorie dense,
Yeah.
precisely. So the thing is, you can still have too much of a good thing
Yeah.
as well, which I think some people struggle to think. They think the more of something that's allegedly healthy they eat, the healthier they get.
Yeah.
There'll be something fishy going on there if you was doing that. Jeez.
Oh dear. Dad jokes for days, mate.
Boom.
Oh,
It's my birthday tomorrow, everybody.
There we go. Happy birthday,
32
mate.
and
Yeah,
that.
but you're not a dad.
Yes, Kilo. Kilo is my dog.
Okay.
That's true, yeah. a dog, Dad, love it.
I am your father.
Kilogram. Okay, so last one, guys. Weight training damages your joints. So this is something I get a lot. I think it's largely lads I speak to who try and deadlift. They always say it's damaging their back. Or they squat and they say it's damaging their knees. And they say this is the...
Probably their fall.
It's probably your trainer.
Lads, I did say lads I speak to, not lads I train.
Yeah,
Lads I train.
exactly.
Clean as a whistle. They're fighting fit. But I think that's a common misconception of they think just loading up joints is going to cause injury. But I think realistically, this is quite a simple one. Of it's just a case of how you execute it and how you load it.
Yeah, and it also exercise helps. Resistance training actually helps your bones, helps your joints.
Improves bone density. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Like when you train, you're supposed to do it anyway. But when you train athletes, one of the things we always look at is athletes' readiness. It's like, are you ready to do that yet? And that's the biggest problem with general pop stuff is we just go in and do what we've seen and what we think is right. And when you begin doing anything, you need to be ready. So there's a whole layer underneath whatever you're choosing to do to get you ready for it. And then once you are ready, what's the next thing that you need to be ready for? And then doing it correctly, the skill, the loading, all of that thing's important. It's such a big process. And I think it goes back to what we always talk about. It's like, enjoy the bloody process of it. Don't try and get the 310 today, because then there's no fun in that anyway. Especially when the facet just pops out your back, hits the window in the gym and smashes it. And then
I think resistance training for bone health, for your joints, is the best thing you can do.
Yeah, I mean, this, I had a client, older person, and osteoporosis. First year improved her bone density by 15%. Second year improved her bone density by 35%. So it proves that it does what it does.
Proof, people. Proof.
Yeah. And, we weren't doing nothing too mad. We're just moving her body weight. So it doesn't need to be so drastic.
It's got to be simple. Simple sometimes I think is the best. That's what annoys me most. I think I see a lot of programs and people trying to stand out on social media with these unique looking exercises, which obviously are different to the standard stuff because they think the standard stuff is boring, but in reality that is probably what's going to help you the best and be the most effective. The more Instagrammable, the less effect I think it's actually going to have.
We still do step ups. We still do single arm dumbbell rows. We still use a cable machine. It's
classics for a reason.
Fundamentals.
Exactly.
Alright guys, so this week's rendition of Max's mediation. I'm excited. We've got more games. I think this is going to be a cute one. This is going to be nice.
Cute.
We're not ripping each other apart.
This is going to be really hard for Andy.
Yeah, precisely.
That's why
I'm going to enjoy doing it. Exactly.
Man's an old man, innit? Don't do cute.
If you're not watching on YouTube, Andy's sweating buckets over here.
Jeez.
It's making him feel really uncomfortable.
COVID positive.
So the game I thought we would play is one word sentence building. So effectively, so I'm going to throw it from one of you, and you're both going to build a sentence.
Okay.
Together, and you can take it in any direction you like. I've got a couple prompts, so I thought I'd start you off on your first one. Of just Nat, would you like to start off by how you both first met with one word, and then throw it back to Andy, and then just ping pong between the two of you?
We.
Huh?
I swear, explaining these games to Andy
hell does we mean?
is the
that was my one
challenge.
word.
We what? What do I have to do?
You now say another word. Say the next word in the sentence.
The sentence that you were thinking of how we met.
I think the main issue we've got in Max's mediation is communication between Andy and myself, actually, not between him and Matt.
Didn't. That was my next word.
Oh,
You
there
did.
we are.
Did you actually think about what the sentence would be, or are you just saying random words?
No, we didn't.
No,
Each other.
yet,
But
we,
communicated.
through,
BBM.
Oh, what a throwback. Right, there we go.
There we go.
That's the one.
Now that is the love story.
Shout out to BBM. There you go.
Shout out.
It's where true love stories are made. Isn't
Right,
it?
that was so much tougher than
I mean, it was.
Well, I thought we did what we were supposed to do.
Andy,
Yeah,
this-
eventually.
We got over the line. Andy, next
Okay.
one. I thought I would ask, how did you start More Than Muscle? Kick us off with the first word, then we'll throw it over to Nat.
Deck chair. What?
the deep sigh.
Deck chair.
That's not a start of a sentence.
Can be.
It can be.
See?
On. Sorry, in.
Okay.
Backspace. In.
Cyprus.
Is that the sentence?
Yeah.
Is it-
Deck chair in
Deck
Cyprus.
chair in Cyprus.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to elaborate on that ever so slightly for people that don't know?
So I hadn't actually passed my PT course yet, and Andy had, but we decided that we wanted to do personal training company together, and we were on a deck chair, and obviously when you're on holiday you always come up with the best ideas,
Obviously.
Best.
and Andy could not rest for 2 seconds, so he was on a deck chair doing a business plan, and he suddenly shouted, "More than muscle, Nat! More than muscle! That's what we're calling it. More than muscle." He went up to the coffee shop straight away. It was actually a bar. We were on Nissy Beach, and called our accountant straight away and set up the business
Done.
whilst we were on the beach.
And don't play.
Okay, and that was it. That was More than muscle.
Amazing.
Done.
I love that.
Get shit done, innit?
6 years on.
It's going all right.
Yeah.
Got our own podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Okay, guys, and the last one I thought we would do is, why should listeners subscribe and listen to the More Than Muscle podcast? Nat,
Jeez.
do you want to start off with this? Come on, this is the advert. We've
All right.
got to nail this.
Because
You
are
dumb.
oh
Fantastic.
my god, I had so much more in my head.
We're appealing to the low IQ audience. Yeah. Anything else? Do you want to insult our audience anymore, Andy?
Just do it.
There you go.
No.
Simple as that. I feel like we had a lot of potential. All right, guys, that can be it for this week. We can work on the mediation.
We're done.
I was gonna say my marriage counselling isn't going as well as I hoped
I
it
think
would.
Andy just needs counselling.
Yeah, Nat, you don't have to come next week, all right? I'm just
Okay,
gonna
lovely.
sort Andy out for you. Thank you so much for tuning into episode 3 of the More Than Muscle podcast, and thank you for your ongoing support. Subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. Download, listen, share with your nan, she'll love it.
Oh.
Get the
She'll
nans
love
involved.
those.
They've got
Get
plenty
your
of
nan
time.
involved.
They've got plenty of time to listen to podcasts. Exciting stuff. So we've got a guest coming on next week as well. You'll have to tune in to find out who it is, but we're very excited. It's going to be a fantastic episode, and we will see you all next week.
Yes.
Bye for now.
Bye. Bye.
Yalla.